I thank the gentlelady. Now I recognize the gentleman from California, Mr. Kiley.
Good morning, Chancellor Lyons. Thanks very much for being here. I want to say from the outset, I know you've only been Chancellor for a year, so I just want to ask a few questions, not for the purpose of assigning blame, but for getting a better understanding of the expectations that members of the Berkeley community can have going forward. And I also want to say at the outset that while I think Berkeley's reputation as being kind of a cartoonishly leftist institution is well earned in some ways, in other ways it is an enormously important institution for our country that does tremendously beneficial research, continues to do so, and provides tremendous opportunities to students across all of its campuses. So I want that to be acknowledged as an important part of the story as well. But let's just start with a simple question. Why do you believe anti-Semitism is so pervasive at Berkeley?
Anti-Semitism is pervasive in the world. It's pervasive in this nation, in society. I think our universities are reflections of our societies, especially a large public university.
But I think we'd agree that universities have been where the problem is probably most visible, and institutions like Berkeley, among a handful of others, have been the worst offenders in a sense. Why do you think that is?
Well, have they been where it's most visible? I think, I'm not sure that it's where they're most present, but I think part of what we do see in universities is there is a freedom to express one's views, even if there's some learning that needs to happen through that process. And I think that's a healthy part of what universities do. So students do express their views. You know, if 200 students express their views on our main plaza called Sproul Plaza, that's 1/5 of 1%.
I guess why does it exist at all? I mean, we're talking about not something like littering on campus. You know, this is the world's most retrograde prejudice. It's the prejudice at the heart of the worst crime in human history. Why does this exist at all on your campus? Have you thought about that? What the explanation might be?
Well, I think we have to come back to anyone's use of the word anti-Semitism. I mean, if somebody is expressing pro-Palestinian beliefs, that's not necessarily anti-Semitism.
But you've acknowledged that there is an anti-Semitism problem that predates October 7th, and there's been a disturbing rise. So I'm asking why. Why do you think that is?
I did agree to that. I believe that part of it has to do with geopolitical events and a war in Gaza.
Okay, I mean, I'm not sure that's a full explanation, but I do want to move on to a couple other topics. So there were some incidents that were deeply disturbing on your campus, such as a checkpoint at Sather Gate, where Jewish students, their movement was impeded. Would you agree, and I'm not asking you to comment on individual cases, but that going forward, a student or faculty member who physically obstructs the movement of someone on the basis of their race, ethnicity, nationality, religion, that is just an automatically expellable or fireable offense?
Going forward, we have a very clear no-tolerance rule for blocking Sather Gate for any reason, and I will enforce it, and we have enforced it. I mentioned that in an earlier comment.
But if someone does this specifically against a Jewish student or for someone, any other form of identity, I mean, what should the expectation be for what that student's or faculty member's punishment will be? I think there are some things, if someone's convicted of murder, you'd say automatically expellable offense, I'm sure, right? So what's the punishment here?
Well, it's an important question. As we in most universities implemented more sharply defined time, place, and manner rules, we also have to think about how are we going to enforce those rules, usually with some kind of what we call tiered response. So the question is this a first offense? Is it a 20th offense? Was it, how extreme was it? So
I mean, I've given you a very specific example, though. I don't know if it matters to me whether that's the first or 20th offense. If you're physically stopping someone from getting onto their campus because of who they are, that person should be expelled, shouldn't they?
Well, part of it is, were they physically restricting people that were from a different identity group at the same time? There's just a lot of context and facts before somebody could say we need to jump to the point where somebody's getting expelled, and we investigate those. We're very rigorous about our investigations.
Yeah, what about the encampment? So we know that your predecessor reached a deal with the encampment organizers, and part of which was to endow this department that's now headed by the wannabe terrorist Magdisi. Would you agree going forward that it's not appropriate to make policy changes in response to demands made by those who are in the process of violating campus rules?
I can't second guess my predecessor. The facts and circumstances under which she was leading us at the time, really, I was not in the role as you've pointed out. Going forward, I can speak to that, and that's why you invited me here. And going forward, for example, there are certain things that we talk to students about all the time. They make demands. Let's leave ourselves beyond the anti-Semitism question. Is like, do we discuss improving the campus with
The
students?
gentleman's time has expired.
You need to.
Sorry, we
My
have to
time has
move on.
expired. I think that the issue with the encampment was that it clearly violated campus policies, but that was rewarded by the then Chancellor by acceding to their demands. And I would hope that that is not going to be the approach taken by Berkeley going forward.
I thank the
yield
gentleman, and I recognize the gentlelady from Arizona, Ms. Ansari.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you to all the witnesses for being here today. Anti-Semitism has undoubtedly been on the rise for years. As we all know, although Jews constitute only 2% of the U.S. population,